Eklutna Lake, nestled in the mountains, fed by glacial runoff. It's a drop-dead gorgeous place. Very remote.
It's just one of those places that nobody goes to unless they have a need to go there.
Two power line workers were up in that Eklutna Road region, and they found skeletal remains. Troopers went up there and examined the scene, and they found skeletal remains and clothing, jewelry, some high-top red boots, but nothing to help them really identify exactly who she was. Anytime you find skeletal remains, there's an autopsy. You lay out the bones, and a forensic expert will look at those bones and try and give you a better picture of who this victim was. In this case, she was most likely a young girl, maybe late teens. This particular female victim was stabbed in the back. Then they started doing facial reconstruction, and she got the name Eklutna Annie. No disrespect, but just some way to identify her. Looking at the tall red boots and the type of clothing, investigators thought that perhaps this victim was a prostitute. When a sex worker is murdered, it makes all sorts of problems for investigators. They don't use their real names. They don't have contact with their families. Yeah, it was really hard back then. We didn't have the internet to help us. It was a very poor system, but it was the only system we had. In the mid-'70s, when the pipeline started to build up, there was an influx of criminals and prostitutes.
In the 70s, Anchorage went from 60,000 people to about 200,000 in just that short length of time. A lot of strip joints sprung up, a lot of bars, all to capture that almighty dollar from the pipeline. The first time I met him was when I moved into my home on East 6th, and he was my neighbor. Bob was a baker. His wife, Darla, was a teacher at a Christian school. They eventually had 2 children.
She's this gentle person who has time for Bob. It's probably the first person who's ever really listened to him.
Getting a woman like Darla to love him, although that's an achievement that he might have thought would never have happened, she's not the type of woman he was after.
Bob was very excitable. If you're talking about something he really loves, like hunting, you could get him going. Sometime if he got real excited, a little saliva would come out the edge of his mouth. Bob loved the challenge. It was the skill required to do the sneaking up part, do the stalking, and get close enough where you can make the kill shot. And once you do that, trust me, it's a thrill. It's a rush. From all outward appearances, he was a great guy. But he was a Jekyll and Hyde kind of person, evidently.
But I'd drive from work, drive uptown in a hurry, and sit there and just look at the prostitutes walking up and down the street. It'd give me this here sexual big blow-up charge. I got this thrill out of when they would open the door. It was something key turned over from right to wrong, to right again, where it was all right on these here prostitutes. I could do things with them that I couldn't do with a good woman.
At this stage in Hansen's life, what we see is him performing a modus operandi initially that looked an awful lot like we had been doing for quite some time. He picked up a young woman.
She was white, very short. I can't remember if I picked her up as a dancer or if she was a prostitute uptown. I know I picked her up and told her I was going to take her, we was going to go to my home. I just pointed a gun at her. I said, "Now look, if you do exactly what I tell you, and don't give me any problems whatsoever, you won't get hurt in any way, shape, or form. I promise you that." Everything was the way it was supposed to happen. This time it didn't go right.
This woman did not follow the plan. She broke away and ran away from Hansen.
Yana said, "Hey, don't go any further. Stay there." Then she started running this way here and ran after her.
There was something exciting for him about the kind of danger and the challenge in getting to her and then taking her down, similar to the way he had been hunting animals.
She was running down the road, and I caught up with her. I grabbed her in the hair. She had a big knife in her purse, big black handled buck knife. And she grabbed that out and swung around, and then I grabbed her hands, and I tripped her down. She started screaming at me, that "Don't kill me, don't kill me." I can remember she was laying face down, and I just stuck her back. Everything happened so fast, I was fighting with it, and then all of a sudden, I killed her.
Based on what Hansen said about killing this young woman, he crossed the line out of desperation. And any kind of resistance, that just made him want to punish them more.
I guess if I wanted to control things, it made me feel masculine or powerful. But this time it went too far.
I was watching national news, and there was Bob Hansen. And I thought, what the hell is Bob Hansen doing on national news? And I turned it up, and it said, "This is the greatest mass murder in the history of Alaska." Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I had no idea.
That guy was in my house, at my dinner table. Just sends a chill up my back.
In 2020, they produced a new rendering of Eklutna Annie, and there's still hope to identify the victim. I hope that someday they solve that. But there's a lot of families that still don't have closure.
I think why I couldn't read him. And that's the only guy I ever know that I couldn't read. Had I been able to read him, maybe I could have stopped him a lot earlier than he finally got stopped. And maybe saved some of those girls. Such a waste of young lives.